change.
I feel there is a reason why this entire shift has happened as well, which is called, so basically there's a term which is called generation obsolescence, right? For example, like the example you shared, right? What are we doing wrong? Why do you need to seek a counselor? At that point in time, the generation gap was very large.
Right.
So it was naturally assumed that the kid will learn from the parents' individual experience.
Right.
Correct? And that is the reason the parent would feel that, hey, I have experienced it, I have gone through it, I have come out of it, I can help you. Why are you going to someone else?
Right.
Right? That's the entire piece. But now, generation gaps are less than 5 years apart. Or like I will not be joking if I say 5 years, it may be a bit more here and there.
Okay.
But I see 12th standard kids now. When I speak to 12th standard kids, I feel they're a different generation.
Exactly.
Right?
Very true.
Now, so they cannot learn from my experience. They have to speak to someone who is well researched on their generation, what kind of emotions they go through. Right? That is one very large factor. Second factor, as you very rightly called out, is screen. Right? And so what happens is that when we watch movies, and again, I feel the movie industry is the biggest culprit of it.
Thanks for saying that.
The entertainment, yeah, it is. It's true, right? Because we see like folks roaming in BMWs, having palatial houses. It creates a very unrealistic kind of expectations with people, right? And then they try to copy their favorite superstar, whoever it is, right? But then they don't realize that that guy has worked his ass off.
Exactly.
And he's a paid actor.
He's a paid actor, right? He's paid to say what he says on the screen.
He's paid to smile that way and feel successful and make you feel as though he's the best.
Correct. So they feel that it's very easy to do that. And when they actually get out in the world, it's not easy. Right? And then that causes a lot of emotional stress and emotional damage, I would call it out. And that is the key reason to seek psychiatric help or counseling. And that's the very right change that has happened in our generation itself.
Yeah.
Right? And because now we have learned that, hey, it's okay to seek a counselor. It is okay. We are kind of sort of spearheading that change in the next generation.
Right.
And that's why I feel it's okay to go to, say, counselors right now, and we are okay. Like, we don't feel that, right?
Yeah.
That, hey, we can help you because we understand. Second reason, what I also feel, as I said, screen time, generation obsolescence, and there is one sort of the negative piece of it, right? If you, whenever you feel emotional stress, if you directly go and see a counselor, right, you will never become mentally strong.
No.
Like, that's the reason probably if you see like our grandparents of our parents or even our parents, right, they have seen a lot of ups and downs in their life.
Right.
They have never sought therapy, right? They were strong enough.
They did okay.
They did okay. Yeah, I would even say they were strong enough. They survived.
Yeah.
Right? They are here. We are standing here because of them.
Yes.
So they did good enough, and we are not able to do that. So all of this has its own sets of pros and cons.
Right.
While we talk about pros, it's great, but the cons is the overall mental health of the generation is a bit weak. So a small failure can really stress someone out. Right? Here in our generation or in our parent generation, 10th मध्ये कमी marks आले, no one cared.
Yeah.
ठीक आहे, नाही आले, ठीक आहे, पडत बस. In our generation, 10th मध्ये कमी marks आले, oh my god, आता काय होणार? Probably in next generation, I feel it's going to be exponentially crazy. Right? And that's why
So many vocations coming in also.
Or it can be very cool as well. It can be very cool.
It could be very cool because so many new avenues are opening up and they are equally well respected.
Exactly.
Like dignity of labor, if we take this particular idea and stretch it out to different verticals. Picking up from your previous point, what kind of ideals children have? Like we were talking about a movie star who might be having really bad habits and they're well known. And people kind of, and children, not only just children but grown-ups also idealize these people. And so herein comes the point of inculcation of good values, ethics and morality. I think that's a big and most important topic, because if these values and ethics are not inculcated correctly in the childhood, then they might turn out to be what is recognized as a big thorn in society. And this can happen in any kind of emotion, in any kind of class of society. Like we have people who are, like we can take the example of Sanjay Dutt, who would have gone in a very, very different direction. But his father and probably a few counselors and his emotional support system kind of got him back on track, and now he's doing well.
Correct.
So there were people who used to have posters of Sanjay Dutt in their homes, right? I remember, like when I was in third or fourth standard, I went to homes of my brothers who were quite elder to me, and there were Sanjay Dutt or Salman Khan posters. And later on, we know what they were, the kind of controversy they got caught up in. So now we can focus on the topic of ethics, morality, and what is the right way of inculcating these values and ethics, and how do you teach these things, because they are at a very sensitive age, and we do watch news, television, and movies. So can you elaborate with examples, like when you're watching a sensitive scene on screen, and when the child asks, "Ai te kai karta nakki," and then how do you respond to that? Like how do you deal with that?
To be very honest, we have not been in that
Asunti
situation.
face
As in the okay.
But
Hypothetically, okay.
but I can go first and you can continue. But
Yeah.
I feel to inculcate the right values, there is one simple funda: children copy their parents. Right? If you have the right morality in whatever you do, or the right set of values, which I feel our generation has a lot of good values, right, that our parents have inculcated, then the child will, you just have to keep on doing it in front of the child, and the child will understand it eventually. In the short term, right, when, like, I can tell you some examples that, like, my kid goes to daycare for the full day, so, and like we keep a watch on him on the CCTV, what does he do, and then we have regular parent teacher meetings once a quarter. We've just gone to like 2, but then they have told us the child's progress, right, ki to kai karto. Then they have like a very cool evaluation sheet, ki how's the child's emotional intelligence, does he socialize, is he very aggressive, is he like they have like 20 odd questions on it, and they have the class teacher has answered all of them. So we get to understand ki acha, how's the child behaving. Like for example, if the child is aggressive, then probably we'll consult a doctor that, hey, okay, how do you reduce it? The best way is to sort of divert them. And even I am learning, to be very honest. I am still a very, very newbie to it, right? But these are all the current set of learnings that I am still processing in my mind, which I am trying to share. But short term ke liye, you have to seek help. You have to obviously seek guidance from your parents who have raised kids. You have to be vocal about it. What are the problems you are facing with your friends who are in the same situation? Probably they have a solution, right? Or probably you can get the right benchmarks. Ki acha, social skill madhe, my kid has five friends. I spoke to their parents. What's the other kid doing? What is the right? And then what is the right way? So you will get 5 set of data points, to be very quantitative. You will get 5 set of data points on some metrics.
Okay.
And then you decide ki acha, मला कोणत्या direction ला जायचं. So if I want to make my child on this direction, I would look at this data point as a benchmark. I'm just trying to put it very logically, in a scientific way.
Yeah.
But this is how I think about it.
Yeah.
Overall, to
and of course there is equal weightage for emotions also, but nonetheless logic is also highly important in approaching the development of a child, because if there is no logic, then you're just going to be foolhardy and just be very pessimistic, no, not pessimistic, but very passive in terms of, instead of authoritarian. Like there are 4 modalities of parenting, something that some researchers have been using. You can be authoritative, you can be authoritarian, you can be passive, and there's another one. So what they concluded was that if you are authoritative or authoritarian, somewhere between there, like if you have the right kind of balance between that, not exactly very highly authoritative, but a little bit of authority is good. So it works really well for nudging them in the right direction, and developing those particular attributes which your teacher has highlighted. Also, what Darshana would
Sorry,
like to
one
share.
last, just want to conclude
Huh.
that. And all said and done, the grandparents are there
Oh yes.
to inculcate the right values because they know best.
Right.
Right? Sorry, go on.
Okay, yeah. Please continue.
I have a very simple and very noble ideology about parenting. That whatever our parents or grandparents have done, I guess we are a very good product of it. So there can be nothing wrong about it. But what I see around, like just Chinmay mentioned that he is in a very data and a very calculative mode. But each parenting is different and every kid is different. So
Yeah.
every method has to be different. Like I can't go into that mode and look at my kid from that angle.
Right.
Because see, we are very different individuals who have been brought up very different.
Very different, I guess.
Like if I consider my parents were brought up amongst 8 different people. Like they were 8 siblings together.
Yeah.
If we consider my generation, we were 3 sisters grown up together.
Right.
But if I consider my child, he's going to be the only one. So what happens is, if my grandparents had these many kids, they had to give attention to all of them. Therefore, they were not pressurized. They were not pressurizing one of them that you have to be that competitive.
Yeah, that is a big point. Yes.
My parents, they divided their attention into 3 daughters.
Yeah.
But what happens with our generation? We have 1 or max 2 kids, and we want them to be the best, and we minutely observe every small development of theirs.
Yeah.
Right? Like the competition begins when they are in the womb itself. तुझ्या बाळाने कितव्या महिन्यात किक केली? 6 माझ्या 5व्या महिन्यात किक झाली. अरे what म्हणजे let them take a break. They are
Yeah.
just babies.
Yeah.
Even after that, like the schools right now, they are organizing crawling competition for 6 months babies.
Really?
I'm not. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's happening in Nashik.
It's happening.
Oh my god.
So I really think की 6 months बाळ विचार करत असेल मला जर करायचं असेल तर मी करेल ना तर मी नाही करणार.
Oh dear god.
And उनकी मर्जी को उनके मालिक है वो. At that point of time, at least they should have that. Like my husband is associated with the school and he goes into all this cognitive and gross motor skills and everything every time. And I am like, त्याला करायचं असेल तो करेल, नाहीतर त्याची इच्छा नसेल तर तो नाही करणार, पण त्याला प्रेशराइज नाही करायचं.
Oh yeah, that brings me to a very nice nostalgic moment I remember in childhood. Like there used to be so many kids. I remember Chinmay being one of them who used to be going to music class. Then he had badminton. Then he had scholarship class.
Oh.
He used to go to at least, and then drawing. Yes, of course. He used to attend 4 classes every day. I'm so surprised how he managed to do all these things and then homework also. And there's something else that I'm missing. Like how did you manage to do this? And whether it was, looking back in hindsight, whether it was the best thing that ever happened, and would you also use this kind of strategy on your child?